Hello, everybody. Happy Monday evening to you all. It's weather extra time. Hot and humid, right? Yep, that's the theme for the rest of the week. That's not going to change. We talked about this last Friday. So today made Friday, Saturday, Sunday, fourth day in a row that Huntsville has hit 90 plus. We had 4 90-degree days for the entire year up to this point, and we've doubled that in the last 4 days. But we're not just hitting 90. You know, I think it was 95 Saturday, 94 Sunday, and 95 today. So we're not just hitting 90, we're crushing 90, and it's very humid. The only relief that you can get is in the afternoon, you get one of those stray showers, thunderstorms, downpours. And be careful what you wish for, though, because yesterday it happened in Tony and Harvest, where 2 areas of thunderstorms, I talked about it right here on Weather Extra, they converged the outflow boundaries right over Tony and Harvest, and there was like 3 to 4 inches estimated by the radar in about 45 minutes. It was quick, and it caused flash flooding. So it's one thing to get the thunderstorm to cool you off a little bit, and then it's another thing to get a thunderstorm that floods your entire house, and that's what happened yesterday in Tony and Harvest. But we had a few thunderstorms today. They were mainly in Franklin County, Russellville, Phil Campbell, Vina, Hodges. And many of you that lived there talked to me this evening on Facebook and said, hey, you know, it feels a little bit better out there. And it does. The temperatures are in the 70s for you, but elsewhere, I mean, at 9 o'clock, I made a post on Facebook, and it was still 89 degrees at the Huntsville International Airport. At 9 o'clock, it was 89 with a feel-like temperature of 96. That's just ridiculous. So the pattern's not changing. In fact, the 2 hottest days of the week will be Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's when the air temperatures will be right back to the mid to upper 90s. And the chance to hit like a 105 feels like for most locations in the Tennessee Valley is very real. And that's why the National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory for both days and now includes all the counties, not just the counties to the west like it did over the weekend. So pattern's not changing. It's going to stay hot and humid. It's summer. It's supposed to be hot. It's supposed to be humid. But kind of all happening at one time. You know, we went from like a pretty cool pattern with all the clouds and rain we had. And then all of a sudden it's like the heat and humidity. It's like in your face. Right as soon as the summer season began Friday, it turned on, and it's been really steamy and very uncomfortable the last couple of days, right? So let me see what we got going on. Look at everybody on tonight. This is great. I want to take the graphics full for you so you can see the temperatures, and I'll cycle through. I want to show you this graphic too before I start saying hi to everybody. The feels like temperatures. See how they're kind of all over the place? Like it's still 94 in Huntsville is how it feels. That is ridiculous at 9:32, but there's some 70s, and that's where we had some showers and storms in Russellville, Moulton, in and around Moulton, mainly southwest of Moulton. But it was enough where you got a little bit cooler air from the outflow boundaries that the feel-like temperatures are only in the upper 70s right now. That's still pretty high for this time of year, but not nearly as hot as it is in other places. So tonight, clear, warm, and muggy. Any storms that happened in the afternoon have fizzled out, and the rain has come to an end. And then we do it all over again tomorrow, where temperatures will be back in the mid to upper 90s, a lot of sunshine. Can't rule out a stray shower or a thunderstorm, but again, it'll be isolated, and be careful what you wish for, because some of the rainfall, whatever pops in the afternoon, will be a big time rain event and probably have some incredible cloud to ground lightning with it too. Could even have some gusty winds up to about 40 miles an hour. Hi, Kirsten. Good to see you on. I see you. Hi, Renee from Point Mallard Decatur. I almost said Parkway because I'm doing traffic. Hey, D, what's up? Good evening, my friend. He says, happy Taco Tuesday Eve. Happy Taco Tuesday Eve to you too, my good friend. Go for a taco tomorrow. That sounds good. There's your heat advisory. Technically, it kicks in at noon tomorrow, but for simplistic sake, I'm just going to say Tuesday and Wednesday because we know the afternoons are the hottest part of the day. And then Thursday and Friday gets interesting. So what I've done on that graphic is I've kept it 20% for Thursday, Friday, but I have to say that 2 things are happening with some of the forecast models, especially the Euro. The Euro is more aggressive for rainfall now for Thursday and Friday, and if that plays out, that would mean more clouds, and it wouldn't be as hot. It won't be 92, 94. We could shave a few degrees off that temperature. Now, if it doesn't play out to be more rainfall and it stays like that minimal 20%, then you will be hot and you will stay 94 and 92. For the weekend, the early call right now is more widespread rainfall. Showers and thunderstorms become more numerous. Any type of rain we have this weekend will be heavy downpours. Flash flooding would probably be the primary concern. And with more clouds and rain for the forecast for the weekend, we could drop the temperatures to around 90 degrees. It's still hot, but not as hot. And then next week stays unsettled. And what I mean by that is still some rain, still some showers, still some thunderstorms for Monday, Tuesday. It's like days 7, 8, 9, and 10 of the 10-day forecast. So I don't know exactly what part of the day it will rain yet, but I can tell you that showers and thunderstorms will be in the vicinity. And with the clouds and the showers, that might keep us in the 80s and won't be quite as hot. But certainly the threat for rain gets back into that forecast, especially for the weekend and early next week, where we could be looking at multiple days in a row of more numerous showers and thunderstorms. Not so much severe weather, but certainly some big-time rainmakers, because it will still be humid during that stretch. Hi, Lori. Good to see you on. Lori's in Rhode Island right now, a good friend of mine. They're very hot. In fact, much of the U.S., from the Central Plains east, and I talked about this over the weekend when I worked. I said, hey, this is going to make national news, because once you start having feel-like temperatures that are like near 100 in New York City and Boston and D.C., it makes national news every time. Around here, we hit it almost on a regular basis in the summer, but for areas in some of the higher populated areas in the Northeast, now it's making national news, and there are tremendous amounts of heat alerts for so much of the U.S. right now. And it's summertime. It's supposed to be hot, but for some areas, it's a bit excessive. For our area, it's hot, but it's not crazy hot. It's to the point, though, it's still uncomfortable, right? And I tell everybody this, too. Everybody has their own threshold of what comfortable air masses are, like your fall feel, your spring feel, your winter feel, your summer feel. And there's some of you who like to go out in the summer and you don't care if it feels like 105. You're going to still mow the lawn. You're still going to do the weeding. You're still going to go for your walks. And that's great. And then there's other people, when it gets to 105, where the heat bothers them a bit more, and they have to kind of pack it up and stay inside and find AC. It just comes down to whatever your threshold is and what your comfort level is. And for some, it's more tolerable. For others, not so much. It's just how it plays out. Hi, Shirley Hodges. Good to see you on, and thank you for saying hello. Extra cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. I don't know why I do that, and I haven't figured out if it's good or not, but it's funny because I was actually at Costco. I was shopping. This is today. And somebody came up to me and they bumped my carriage and they were like, cha, 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 cha. His name was Chris. It was really funny. And he watches 48 all the time, which is really cool. And we were in the food area. We were both buying some food and buying the same thing, actually, chicken and waffles. Those of you who don't know, I shouldn't really talk about this, but Costco sells prepped chicken and waffles. It's really good. The chicken is made with this like brown sugar on the top. Very good stuff. Hi, Christine Tinker from beautiful Bryant. Good to see you on. Good to see you. And I hope that you're having a good day and you're staying cool. Now it's a good night now at this point. Shirley says, yep, it's still hot here. It sure is. It's really, really like, I feel like the air is very heavy. I went home, got some food, came back, and I was like dripping in sweat when I came back in. I was kind of looking forward to coming back to the studio so I wouldn't have to be outside because it's AC here and it felt good. Hi, Roberta Smart. Hope you're feeling better. Hope all is well. Good to see you on. David Adams, always a great forecast. I love it, David. I like that positive energy right there. That's good stuff. Always a great forecast. Lori says, we could hit a feel-like temperature tomorrow of 110 in Rhode Island. That is serious in Rhode Island, especially for Rhode Island. But I imagine areas at the beach is probably not 110, but maybe in Coventry 110. But I don't have to forecast for that anymore, which is great. I don't have any beaches anymore, which is nice. Ann Nelson says, hello from Tanner. Hi from Tanner. Tanner, how are you doing, Ann? Good to see you on. Thank you for stopping by for weather extra. Somebody asked me today, did I wear my tie to match the weather? I did. I do. I try to pick out the colors on my tie to match the weather. Like if it's gray, like a cloudy day, I try to wear like a gray-blue combination. And if it's rainy, I try to wear like, I can't wear green, but I'll wear like a blue-yellow color, kind of like a rain color. I don't know. Jameson, how are you? He says, Priceville is in the house. Good to see you on, my friend. Jameson's on. Who else is on tonight? Try to say hi to everybody. Kaylee's on. Hey, what are you doing, Kaylee? Good to see you on. Kaylee, I think you asked me about the forecast because you have a birthday party this weekend, right, or something? I remember correctly. I don't know exactly when the rain's going to fall on the weekend yet. Give me another day on that because the forecast models pretty much hint at afternoon activity for both days, but one of the forecast models, the GFS, hints at a little bit of rain even on Sunday morning too. So time it out for you. I will iron the timing out as we get closer to the weekend, but there is still a high chance of some showers and thunderstorms both days that will produce heavy rain. And I know that you have plans. I think it's Sunday you have that party, right? If I forget and I messed up, just message me. I'll write you back. Hi, Dawn. Good to see you on. Thank you for saying hello. Appreciate that. Happy Monday night to you all. Hope the week has started off good for you all. That's for sure. Cassandra says to Lori, what's the humidity like up there in Rhode Island? It can be just as bad as here. I worked there for 8 years. The humidity can be stifling, especially near the beaches. But I will say this. I've worked in many markets, right? One area, when I worked in Cheyenne in the Rockies, we had like no humidity. Like it was always dry heat. Illinois with the cornfields, off the charts. And then I worked in New York City, hot, humid. And then Rhode Island, it's interesting in Rhode Island because Rhode Island's a very small state, but at the beaches, the humidity can get undercut just a little bit by some of the sea breezes, but you go literally 10 miles inland, and then the dew points go way up, and the humidity can be a lot higher. It doesn't take much of a drive away from the beaches to have a big difference. So, but Lori will probably be able to answer that too. Kaylee says, my son's first birthday. Yes. So what day is it, Kaylee? I don't remember. Help me out. I'm old. I forget things. That's how it works. Lori says, very humid. It sums it up. Especially where Lori lives. Lori lives in a small town called, well, it's not a small town. It's the biggest small town of the U.S., if I remember correctly, in Coventry, Rhode Island. And Coventry is not the beach. No. Close to the beach. You can drive there, but it's not considered a beach community. And where Lori lives, it can get really humid, actually. Hi, Shelby from beautiful Russellville. Good to see you on. You had some rain showers in your vicinity today, and that might have helped you drop your temperature a little bit. Actually, at one point, I think it was during the 5 o'clock newscast, one of the storms went severe warned, actually, for parts of western Franklin and western Colbert County. It died out really quick, though. It didn't have a lot of legs to it. But probably some brief gusty winds, and there was a lot of lightning with it, too, at first, and then the lightning kind of scaled back and then just became a big old rain event at that point. But Kaylee says, I hate to see all the rain in the forecast. It was nice not seeing it for a minute. Yeah, and even the days that we only had, we had little 10 and 20% for the weekend, and not everybody had rain on the weekend, but areas that did have rain, it poured. And Sunday played out to be wetter than I thought it was going to be. I even said that when I was on for Weather Extra yesterday at 4:30, tracking the thunderstorms, was the coverage of rainfall on Sunday was a little more than I expected. But once we got to the evening hours, everything dissipated really quickly, but the damage was done already because not only did we have flooding in Tony and Harvest and some really heavy rain where those two cells merged and converged together, all the outflow boundaries came over one area. There was also a very strong cell in Lawrence County too. Just east of Moulton, there was a lot of wind damage on County Road 316. I believe it was in Lawrence County, not in Morgan County, but the person who I saw the post from, I don't know exactly where they live on County Road 316, but based on radar, I would assume the wind damage was in Lawrence County. But Kaylee says, on Sunday, thank you. Sunday is the birthday day. So Sunday will be my day I focus on. I'll be focusing on the Sunday forecast for Kaylee. So now I put that in my head. I won't forget. Jason Bates, what's up? Not much. I'm just kind of chilling. Got a 10 o'clock newscast in about 17 minutes. So I got another 7 minutes to just kind of hang out and talk weather. Keep the 10-day up for you so you can see it. Just kind of hanging out. It's a Monday, Kaylee says, I made backup plans for Saturday indoors if we get to Wednesday and see if it's going to be a rain out. Okay. Backup plans are always good. I'm not organized like that. I give you props, Kaylee. That's good stuff because I don't ever have backup plans. But Jessica says we have softball tournaments on Saturday in Anniston. Yeesh. It's always a tough one too because what can happen in this type of pattern too, Jessica, is even if you only get one gully washer in the afternoon or in the morning and it can totally soak the field, that could be residual problems for the rest of the day if the field takes on too much water. And that's the kind of rainfall we could have this weekend where you might only have one storm that one entire day, but if it hits around noon, it could mess up the field for the whole afternoon. So it'll be something to keep an eye on and watch. Hopefully maybe we can back the rain off a little bit for the weekend. Right now it looks pretty wet though, but we'll see how it goes. Remember, it's only Monday, and things can change. Some of the rainfall maybe gets suppressed down to the south, and well, in Anniston that wouldn't help, but yeah, maybe south of here, but maybe not south enough for you, right? Money-making week for me in construction life. Good for you, Jason. Anytime you're making money, that's good. We got it. Show me the money. Good stuff. You can share with Jeff Desnoyers. That would be great. I gotta block this. I think it's already blocked. Yeah. All right. So I took care of that. Sorry about that. There was somebody on posting stuff that they should have posted. You have beautiful hair. Well, thank you. Pull the 10-day up again for you. You don't need to see me. You can see the temperatures. A couple of you asked me too. My good friend Rita out in Mentone. The temperature is going to be just as hot in Mentone as they are in other areas. Sam Mountain and Lookout Mountain may not 97, 98 tomorrow, but still going to feel really hot. Around a 104, 105, even for areas east. A lot of times we'll have like a heat advisory, and it will only be for the counties up until like Madison and Marshall, and then DeKalb and Jackson are left out, but that's not the case. Everybody's in the heat advisory as we go into tomorrow and Wednesday. That's why I took a page from Eric Burke this morning, his 10-day forecast. He put very hot for Tuesday and Wednesday. I said, you know what? I like that because I want you all to know at home that the hottest 2 days are going to be those 2 days. And I thought that he did that in the 10-day. And I said, I'm going to copy him because I think that's a good idea. All right. Comments are down. Eyeballs are down. Jeff Desnoyers is out. I'm going to go get ready for the 10 o'clock newscast. We'll be on air. Margot, myself, and Carl, we're all going to be here. And we will have all your news, weather, and sports. Everybody try to stay cool. Common sense stuff when it comes to heat. You know your threshold of your comfort. Keep it indoors if you don't like it. If you don't mind it, go out and just moderate. Try to make sure you take some breaks too. I know if you work in the construction business, that can be difficult sometimes, but you might want to try to grab a little shade, take a little break, drink a lot of water, stay hydrated, wear light colored clothing, make sure your pets are safe. If you have a neighbor that's elderly, maybe you just go knock on the door and say hello and make sure everyone's okay. Little simple things like that. It really just comes down to common sense stuff when it comes to heat. But sometimes when you get to like day 3 and day 4 and day 5 of like really hot temperatures, sometimes the common sense stuff. You walk outside with a black shirt on or something, or I don't know. You don't drink water that day. You get dehydrated. Simple things like that. His actual birthday is on Thursday, so we might be doing something that day. Okay, that sounds good. You know what? Make it like a 4-day birthday, Kaylee. Why not? Just have a big old party for him. You only turn one once, right? It's good stuff. All right, everybody have a fantastic night. Again, we're on air in 12 minutes, so catch us there, and we'll talk again soon.